and we're going to bring in thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. Really, it's just, I mean, I was excited about Cooler Brands 10 years ago, but we really only had part of the puzzle. We have the whole puzzle right now. And with the way, and you know what? Actually, what's helped us with the biggest part of the puzzle is AI. The fact that it's going to replace before, and 10 years ago, we told people, oh, jobs are going to be replaced. They'll be like, oh, yeah, what? 3 jobs here, 2 jobs. No. At this point, we're talking hundreds of millions of jobs around the world, and you can see it. When we sit there and make videos and we make content, the amount of stuff that even Rhonda was able to do with this presentation, we paid somebody to work a whole week on, as far as like that, went through the whole thing where she was able to do it by herself. We would have all worked on that 3 years ago. Corey, myself, Dawn, Rhonda, there would have been
back
5
and forth
of us
on Fiverr, ready to shoot ourselves. Yeah.
Right. And with that, it was like you can just sit there by yourself and just go through and accomplish just fantastic things. And that doesn't take
anything. She can hang out with her boyfriend all day.
Job with it. But again, it's just we're in a changing world. And so we are finally ready for the participatory economy and communities commerce and blowing these things up. I had a dream last night. We were launching company after company, and they were becoming unicorns, and I mean, it was incredible how big and how fast.
Unicorns.
It was like instant pudding. We had instant company. We would come up with it, bring it to the community, and bam, it's worth $1 billion. Bam, it's worth $1 billion. Bam, it's worth $1 billion. And it,
wow.
We probably should let everybody in because we're 1 minute late today. So
welcome everybody.
Awesome.
Watch out, everybody. Peter is just wired today.
Oh, he's wired. I know. And
more than, the dream. Yeah.
It's good to see you all here this morning.
You guys. And do we have anybody that's new on here today?
Nope. Everybody's been here before.
Okay. We'll give it another minute or two to see if anybody comes in. I was just telling Rhonda and Sharona, I don't have a lot of dreams like when I go to sleep, because I only sleep a short period of time. Sleep. So I don't think it has time to do it. But last night I actually went to bed early. I went to bed at 2 a.m. So, and I did get about 6.5 hours sleep. But part of that time I was dreaming about what we're building here and what we're doing. And it was actually pretty incredible. When I think of it as in building what we're building here between WeFi and then the Web3. Oh, I still have my the Web3 background on. I didn't switch it over. It was like in my dream, we had created what I would call instant pudding or instant soup or instant anything companies. And it was like we would start something and we'd find it and it would go out to the community and boom, it's like a little newsreel would run and say, this company now valued at over $1 billion. This company now unicorn status. And unicorn status, guys, is a value over $1 billion, because we had tapped into the power of community and the participatory economy. It was like every single company that we touched went to $1 billion plus valuation. It was just like clockwork. It was so easy. It was like we'd say we're going to do it and boom, just days later, boom, days later, boom, days later. Now, I don't know if we'll ever be able to create a unicorn in days. It was a dream, but I do believe that we're going to be able to do that in 6 months' time easily with multiple companies. Company after company after company after company after company. And the cool part about it is these are great companies that have the right. I think it's very important, and we've seen it over the years. It's super important who the founders of these companies are and really what they want to accomplish in this world. Entrepreneurship is a huge responsibility for somebody who's going to run. So first of all, for the employees that work for that company and are a part of that and are saying, hey, I'm going to work for this company, and it's It's my livelihood. It's what we accomplish as a company. What do we stand for as a product when it comes to customer service, when it comes to the entire thing. I mean, if you really think about it, people that do have jobs and work, right, which is the majority of the population, we spend more time working than we do just about anything else out there, right? Most people sleep for 8 hours a day and you work for 8 hours a day, right? And then you're going to have the other 8 hours to eat and do all the other stuff that you're doing. So a third of our life is spent working. And, I think that if we find the right entrepreneurs that have the right thought process, that are out saying, you know what? So first of all, to do Web3 in the first place, I will tell you this. Not all entrepreneurs will ever be able to do Web3. You have to be a different kind of entrepreneur, right? You cannot be the type of entrepreneur that goes, I want to hold on to 50% of my company. I want to keep the majority in it. I want to be, this is my company. I created it. First thing you have to do in order to run a Web3 company is you have to be able to sit down and go and look at a playing field and say, I need this. I want this to be as fair as possible, right? Because you have to actually recognize that your customers are your biggest, right? We're not asking people to give up 10% of their company in the model and the stuff that we're building. I believe if you're Web3, more than 50% of your company goes out to your customers. So you have to be somebody who actually sits down and goes, yeah, my idea is great. It's fantastic. Yes, I'm going to work hard. Yeah, I'm going to put in 18-hour days, 7 days a week, while other people are out spending time with their family or going on vacations and doing all the normal stuff that people do. But I'm going to sacrifice my time and my energy and everything to put into a company in order to help get it going. And so it takes a special type of person that can recognize that you, just as a customer, just buying a product is going to create value. That yes, even though they're a genius for the coming up with their idea, even though they're an entrepreneur, which again, I spent quite a bit of time working with over 40 plus entrepreneurs. Well, let me put it this way. I worked with a lot of people who thought they were entrepreneurs, okay? They thought they had what it took to run and build the entrepreneurial experience. And that's basically what it was. It was just a dream of theirs. It was not anything that they were willing to pay the price or sacrifice or whatever it took in order to actually run and build a business, because it's not easy to do. You get a lot of arrows shot at you when you're an entrepreneur. I know we don't think about that, but especially if you're building something that's cutting edge and that's different. And I'll go to, WeFi presentation here. I'll go to WeFi on that. So I got in crypto in 2015. At that time, people were talking about Tether was going to get shut down. There's no way it was going to survive. It was going to collapse. And I'm not talking about one time, guys. I'm talking about every freaking day, right? There was things where Tether didn't have the assets behind it. Tether was going to collapse the entire crypto market. And in order to kind of continue to build and grow and do something like that, you have to be able to take that and say, no, I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in what I'm building. I believe in this process of what it was going to do. So, it's not an easy task to be an entrepreneur. It's not easy to also believe in them and then, have them, of course, run off and quit and do all the stuff that a lot of people do, take the easy road out. So anytime I see an entrepreneur who's actually, going through, I don't know, let's call it the startup equation right there, that things don't work as fast as you want them to. They take longer than you want them to. They cost more money than they want them to. You put together deals with partnerships and, you think you're getting in business with a partner that that is serious about the partnership and building something, right? Whether it's a company or people or whatever it may be, and then they just tuck tail and run and leave you holding the bag because you're the face of it, because they were doing it with your company. They're in the background. Nobody knows that they didn't come through with what they are. And, you know, you're the entrepreneur who got excited about it because you thought they were actually going to come through with their opportunity, you know, or with their end of whatever that opportunity is going to be. And basically they didn't, right? So this is not a hard, I mean, it's not an easy thing to start companies, build them, have vision. You have a lot of people that will attack you. Some might be legitimate, but I believe a lot of it is that you have retractors that are doing their own thing, maybe a competing concept or an idea, and they just want to, you know, sow negative out there because they know that society moves so well with fear and with doubt, and that most people won't do their own research. They'll just say, hey, you know, this person said this online, or this was said online, instead of really sitting down and thinking through the whole process and making it happen. So, and again, this all comes back to Web3, guys. You know, there's going to be a huge transition, and I don't think it's every business at some point will be Web3. And I don't think every Web3 community will be successful communities. However, we, not just myself, this entire team, Sharona, Rhonda, Doug, you know, some of the other people that are not here, some of the community members, Steve, 10 years with us right now, you know, Jody, they understand Web3. They understand what it takes. And so it's the company, the founders of the companies, the core founders of the community, which I am a core member of the community founding We the Web3. There we go. But that's all I am. We the Web3 is not a company. We do need to form an entity at some point. We will, but it'll be an entity that's owned by the community 100%. So this is not a company project that I'm starting or anything else. As structure goes, it'll be made. I want to build something that is here for the purpose of, and I guess part of the reason why I want to do this, guys, is I've gone through the entrepreneurial struggle, have had fantastic successes, Forbes Magazine, Wall Street Journal, Toys and 60 million Happy Meals. And to a lot of people, go, wow, toys and 60 million Happy Meals. I'm telling you guys, if you are in the toy industry, a toy and a Happy Meal is equivalent to an Academy Award in the film industry. It is huge. It is gigantic. It is one of the biggest things that can happen to your toy, especially back in the late 90s when we got it done. It was gigantic, right? I mean, there were 52 weeks in a year. They did 20-something programs. Most were taken up by Disney and Mattel at that time. So they had, like, in movie projects, there were 2 slots a year that were left open for a project to come along that was just phenomenal. So we had two chances at one out of all the toys in the world that were invented, and we were able to hit that and make it happen. So with the fact that I've had success in being an entrepreneur and driving and moving things forward and having this stuff happen, you know, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. So I would never go to work for anybody else. I would never work a day in a boring company that, you know, I love starting up things. I love getting them going. So I'm just a member, just like everybody else in We the Web3, and I'm grateful that we were able to find WeFi. We're not in WeFi because of the company itself as necessarily. It's because it is the solution to Web3, right? Bringing this much broader, much bigger than what than what it is, and I believe in it 100%, guys. The team that is there is the dream team for being able to build this stuff. And by the way, there will be other DO banks that are successful, and we want that. Okay, we want that because you don't want all the arrows going to one thing, right? You want arrows going to, I know we're the only one that's doing this, right? Just like I don't believe we'll be the only community. I know we'll be the best community. We're the first community that's being built on this idea of Web3, guys. I'm telling you right now, there's no one else that's out there doing this. They might be doing something where they're collaborating and they're helping get into multiple projects, right? People will call me up all the time and say, oh, these people are doing what we're doing. And I'd look at it and it's a group of people that are getting in different networking companies. That's not what we're doing here. We, the Web3, is going to take companies they went through the inception, the creation process. They have products ready to launch, and then we're going to be that catalyst that's going to launch it. And when we do it, we'll be a part of everything that company does moving forward from there. We were not able to do that with WeFi because WeFi was already going for about 11 months before, I guess 9 months before we actually got involved with it. But again, why? Because it is the solution to bringing Web3 to the forefront, because the complexities that are in the crypto market right now is preventing people from doing it. As I said in the past, me and Dawn got on a call over a few days. We kept going back and forth talking about this concept and this idea that would make it easy to use crypto, chain agnostic. I sat down and was working on some stuff. We talked to the dev about it. How can we do it? How can we create it? We talked about wallets and no need for seed words. And I mean, we went through this whole process. And by the time I was done with it, I'm like, there's just no way. I need to find billions of dollars in order to make it happen and bring it all together. And so I just said, somebody else is going to have to do this one. And that was probably 3.5 years ago. I was looking for the date, trying to find the time frame, and I haven't been able to find it yet of when it was, because it might have been 4 years ago. I know we were very frustrated in the adoption level at that point of cryptocurrency, right? Of the Web3. And again, guys, when I mention crypto, it's Web3. When I mention Web3, it's crypto. They're synonymous. They work together, right? One is the compensation model of it on that side. So anyway, I just see that there needs to be a major change in the world, not just to make ourselves wealthy, not just to build personal wealth, but to balance out. I've mentioned it on other calls before, guys, that they did a survey between entrepreneurship. They asked, what do you think of, capitalism, entrepreneurship, basic capitalism? And it came back with 56% negative. And then they asked them about socialism, and it came back 26. This is in the US, 26% for socialism, negative in the United States. It's just crazy. Socialism doesn't work. If somebody can lay there and be treated the same as somebody who is active, then a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people are going to choose to lay there. Productive people produce all the results. So there's got to be a better way. And I believe that better way is Web3. You don't get rid of entrepreneurship and capitalism. You fix entrepreneurship and capitalism. We're the community that makes it easy, not like a walk in the park, but we take it and say, entrepreneur. We have 80,000, 50,000, whatever it is, 100,000 people. And when you sign a deal with us, yes, you're giving up a lot, right? A lot of your company, a lot of your dream there is going to go to other people, which is great for me, at least I think, right? And when you do that, it's going to be a lot easier. Why? Because we're going to bring your first 50, 80,000, whatever, 2,000, 7,000 customers. You're going to be like instant success in a box, and just everything is going to just go incredible for you, and you're going to have a lot of success in it. And again, WeFi is a core part of that because it's going to allow us to onboard people. I believe from conversations that I've been having with people that are fairly high up in the equation, that we are very, very close. And you can see some of the things that the actions that have been taken with geofencing on the websites, and new information coming in, changes being done in whether it's the WeFi app or in the sales point side of things, that we are getting very, very, very close to the world getting an opportunity to see what is really banking, and how more efficient is it, and how easy it is to use the software and engage and get people into crypto. And once that's there, then, and again, crypto, Web3, right? To bring people into Web3. And once that happens, I just cannot see, I want to go over it again. Okay. So, and I'll use it in the framework of WeFi. Lower fees. Okay. So let me see. I have a banking account right now and I'm paying this fee. Okay. Now I have DO banking account. My DO banking account, my regular checking account is $5 for whatever transaction it is. We'll say ABC transaction. My DO bank is $4 for that transaction. My bank limits access to it. The DO bank has access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One, I don't have any transparency. My traditional bank, I don't know what the heck's going on behind the scenes. My DO bank has transparency because it's all blockchain. It's all online. I can see the assets. I can see everything that's there. Okay. Now let's see. My banking account just charges me fees. My DO bank gives me something called energy, which is a reward, which can be either converted into decentralized finance, so DeFi projects. It can be turned into USDT, which is spendable, so I can spend it. So I have a rewards program here that actually pays me in the DO banking. In the banking entity, I don't have any of those. Let's see. If I had, let's say, $10,000 in my DO bank and I wanted to spend it, and I have $10,000 in my traditional banking account and I want to spend it, right? Which one's easier? Which one's faster? Which one's more affordable? So how can you say that you have an entity that's better in every single way and have it not take off as long as it's just as easy to use? The problem with Web3 right now is that it's always been more difficult to use. And we know that, most people will take if something is easier, they'll take that route versus the harder, better route, right? Because we're busy, we got a lot going on, life is complex, you don't want to have to think about it. And the perfect example is this. How many people have made instant pudding and regular pudding, okay? And had it. Now, instant pudding tastes pretty good. It's okay, right? But you get the pot out, you make the regular pudding, you boil it, you get it all ready, right? You put it in there, and then when you put it in the refrigerator, it gets that layer on the top of the pudding, and it's just so much smoother and creamier and better. But do you think we eat more regular pudding in the world today, or do you think we eat more instant pudding? I'm gonna have to do the research on it, but I guarantee it's more instant pudding than regular pudding. So, that's been the case with Web3. It's better in every way. In every way that is out there, except for the functionality, the ability to use it on a daily basis. If we look at the news that's out there, banking is safe, Web3, crypto is not safe, right? Risky, not risky, risky, not risky. That is all about to change, and WeFi is the company that's going to change that. It's going to take away the scary. It's going to take away a lot of the risk. Not all, because nothing is not risky, right? How many people here have been hacked on their regular banking account? their debit cards, things like that have happened. Had crazy things happen in their lives that were like with the banking industry, of course. As a matter of fact, every time I send a wire, I just had to send another one. They will not accept crypto. I've tried to convince them to take crypto, right? But they won't. So one of the companies that I work with, and I sent another wire just 2 days ago for $11,600. And I go into my bank and I get it all set up. I have sent wires to these people now, guys, 8, 10 times, okay? All 5-figure wires, okay? Bank still comes up and says, there's a list of questions. Is this a scam? Did somebody ask you for this? Every single time I got to click all the boxes and then click, nope, I know it's not a scam. Do you know these people? You would think their system would be able to say, hey, oh, look, he sent it to him 8 times already, so it must not be. But that's the world that we live in today. And so WeFi is fixing that. We have the opportunity to get involved in WeFi, mine the token that is going to drive this system. I believe that it has the potential to be the largest DO banking entity in the world, which will outshine any bank that exists today, any traditional bank that exists today. That bank that is the largest bank in the world is Chase Bank right now. JP Morgan Chase Bank is the biggest bank in the world right now. Matter of fact, I think the top 2, I looked it up, the top 2 or 3 biggest banks in the world are in the United States. The next 2 or 3 are in China. And then I think there's 6 of the top 10 are in the United States, or 5, 4 in China, and then 1 is one other country. I can't remember what it was. But this is what I do in my spare time and fun, guys, is to look at and analyze what is it that we're trying to accomplish with WeFi? What are we trying to accomplish with We the Web3? What's the potential of that happening? As I've talked about this before, if you're an entrepreneur and you're getting ready to go into a space and you're writing a business plan or anything else, they ask you, who's your key market, your target audience, your customer, who is, who's your market competition, what's the level of satisfaction, right? One of the things you should look at is what's the level of satisfaction is there high satisfaction in the customer area that you're trying to go into, which of course would make it harder to break into that market. I mean, if everybody loves their pudding, it would be like, wow, man, everybody loves this brand. Why would I come out with a new pudding, right? But if we look at the banking industry, I want to ask you guys a question on here. How many of you guys, okay, if you love your bank, put in a 1. If you like your bank, put in a 2. If you just tolerate your bank, put in a 3. And be honest, right? And if you absolutely hate your bank, but you bank with them anyway, put in a 4. Just put it in the chat, guys. So I don't hate my bank. I tolerate my bank. Okay. And I have a couple of them, right? So, and look, guys, it's not just me. It's everybody's just about putting, we have one, that's Kevin. Kevin, where do you bank? Probably a credit union or something, right? But even on this quick survey here, we got one that likes their bank, which is Sharona. She's in Canada. She likes her bank, but most are 3s and 4s. And there's another 2 there, Carolyn. She's in Canada as well. Canadians like their banks. I'm going to have to come to Canada and see what's going on with the banks there. And we got Maria. So you've got at least 50% of the people that either don't like their banks or don't tolerate. That's pretty good and there's a few more coming in. So probably 60, 70% of our banks. Guys, that is, oh, wow. Good, Kevin. I don't like Chase Bank because they took my money and held it for 6 months. So, and guys, this is a personal experience of mine. We were in the CBD business, 100% legal in all 50 states. Not a single one. They didn't give us any notice. They didn't do anything. They closed our banking account. We had credit card payments going in there, which got held up for quite some time. They literally just about destroyed our business, right? Because of their own business. And I'm not the only one. As a matter of fact, Jody's on here. Jody has had two banks kick him out of his bank just for doing cryptocurrency. Two banks. And so when you look at that, guys, and I know a lot of other people out now, that doesn't mean that everybody's had a bad experience, but I do know a lot of business people. And that's one of the things is maybe if you're, just a, traditional customer, you work for somebody, you get paid, that might be on a check deposit. Yeah. Chase Bank, Drew. Yep. Yeah. Oh, God, it used to be. So first time I started having some success in my life, I get a check for I think it was 130 grand, somewhere in there. I'm excited, dude. I got this big check. I put it in the bank. We're like making plans. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. They go, oh, and it was on a company that I owned, right? The business account was on the same bank, and it took about a week for that check to clear. And this is a long time ago. It's not recently. It was 20 years ago. More than that, actually. Sorry. I've been married for 30 years, so it's when we first got married. So it's been 30 years. So again, that was a long time ago, but again, that was the time at that point. Everything was held that long. So anyway, yes, plus Cash App closed my account. Yeah. You guys, there's been so much crazy stuff out there in the banking industry. So the good thing is for us is it's low satisfaction. So the world is ready for a better banking experience, and that is what DO banking is going to be. And then again, whenever you look at this stuff, you have to look at the team. And by the way, that doesn't mean that if somebody is new and fresh, look, when I joined the toy industry, I had never done anything in toys before in my life. I was still successful, right? We ended up selling tens of millions of dollars in toys. So the only determining factor is not that you've done something before. However, what it does is if you've built something before entrepreneurial wise and had success, you at least know that when the arrows come, when the mud is thrown, when the problems come up, that you have to be able to somebody who solves problems. You're not a person who crawls up in a ball and just complains and whines and and just lets problems cripple them and stop them in their tracks. I think one of the biggest things with entrepreneurs is being able to solve problems. And it's not that you don't get upset. I mean, heck, we had some things happen that just like knocked me for a loop, but they knocked me for a loop for a minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes or maybe an hour at most. And then you're like, well, we got to solve this problem and make it work, right? And that's what we do. So I was reading over in the chat as well. So anyway, guys, I'm going to open it up for any questions that anybody might have on WeFi, on Web3, and I can answer any questions that anybody might have. We'll have another WeFi presentation on Monday night at 5:30 PST. We'll go through that and be a part of it. This next week, we did a walkthrough last night. Yeah, Kevin, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, I'm very new to this, and I'm just about to buy my first couple of blocks of ITOs. I was wondering, Debbie's been real good about sending me information and what I need to know. But I mean, as a brand new person, I mean, everything sounds good to me, but is there anything other than just dropping into the middle of these videos that would help me understand better?
You can visit dobanking.tech. There's a bunch of videos on there that are by Reeve Collins. The founders. Their comp plan is there. So if you go to dobanking.tech, the compensation plan is listed there.
Okay.
So I'll pull it up. So you've got, of course, there's a getting started tab here, but here's the comp plan here. So if you want to see how the compensation works, the different ways that you can earn by sharing, best performing projects. Of course, WeFi was one of those best performing projects. Let's see, you've got the endless possibilities. This gives you some projections on, what is possible. So this is a site right here. This is the compensation plan that shows you as you reach different ranks. This is a very
Okay, so I
similar.
can view those all from dobanking.tech?
Yeah, dobanking.tech.
Okay, excellent.
Here,
Okay.
community members. So there's a lot of stuff on here. The tokenomics page here.
Yeah.
It's a lot of information on it, and again, a lot of videos and things like that.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Debbie.
Look at there. I just closed it. 72% of Americans say they feel stuck in their job, relationship, routine, and their own minds. I don't know what that's about. I was just on YouTube. All right. All right. Well, any other questions, guys? I was ready to buy some more IDOs. But again, I just wanted to share with everybody on where we're at and, the changes that we're going to make in the world with this. Let me stop sharing my screen. The update on Europe is it's very soon, guys. That's the real update right there. There's no definite date yet at this point, but they're in the final parts of it. That's why they had to make some recent changes in, language and different stuff like that. When people are talking about what we're building here at DeoBank platform, we partner with traditional banks and the partnerships in the way that they're structuring it for Europe in order to get it up and running and get it going. I actually watched a really interesting interview. I believe it was in December that was done by Reeve Collins. He was on a panel with, I was trying to see where my phone is, with two other people, and they were talking about Web3, the Deo, just the whole stable coin side of things, and just kind of going through it. And you can read between the lines when Reeve and they're talking about what they're doing, about how things are being set up and stuff like that. Look, this is the future. Blockchain, Web3, it is our future. It is better in every single way. I'm going to go back to my chart. The final problem that is being solved right now, guys, this is the final issue right here. Right here. Red Web 2. Okay. So when I sit down and I look at this, and I go, okay, Web 2 created the mega wealthy. Okay. Before that, there were wealthy. Now there are mega wealthy. Okay. That is what Web 2 has done. It has created, we were going through some of the numbers. We were talking about this last night. The top 100 publicly traded Web 2 companies, pure Web 2. This does not include Apple, does not include NVIDIA, does not include Microsoft, does not include those big corporations, okay? Just Web 2. They're created pure play web companies. $12.5 trillion created in wealth since the creation of the web in 1995, really, when it started to be commercialized. Most of these companies started either in the late 1990s or early 2000s. Most of the companies that are on the list. $12.5 trillion. That's what this red has created right here. Just in the publicly traded ones. LinkedIn's not publicly traded. I can go over 5 or 6 or 7 companies that are not publicly traded that we use all the time that have valuations in the tens or hundreds of billions of dollars. So it's more than that, right? And that's just
Sure.
those companies.
Can I interrupt for just a second? You're talking about the list we showed yesterday, yeah?
Yeah.
The consumer. The really scary, interesting, like frustrating thing, all of those things, is that of those 10 companies, I actually looked at it again. I have purchased, bought, used 9 out of the 10, something. And I know the name of the person who started the company, who is a billionaire, because of it for 5 of those companies. I mean, that's how much we use these companies. That's how much of a consumer we are of their products, goods, and services. And it's not a bad thing, but I am extremely envious, and I would much prefer to see Jeff Bezos switch his company to a Web3 format so that I could benefit from that. But it's crazy when you look at these companies and how big they are from our consumer goods, our consumption of Netflix and Travelocity or Temu. I mean, Temu's I researched number 9 because I didn't know the company. They own Temu. Like, oh my golly, that's when I was embarrassed. I'm like, oh geez, I'm 9 out of 10. but you know their names. You know Jeff Bezos. You know Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates. We know too much about these people's lives, and they know way too much about ours as well. So yeah, it's crazy. I'm digging your Web3 is the way to go for sure.
Well, so again, the red created, so that's 12 point something trillion. Elon's wealth actually comes from there. He's not even in that equation because Tesla's not on the list because it's not a Web3 company, or it's not a Web2 company. It's not considered a pure play Web2 company. So there's another couple of trillion there that you can add to that list. SpaceX is not on there. All of that is because of the web, right? His initial funding, everything that he's built has come from the internet, right? Without the internet, he's not, going to be a trillionaire here very soon, including SpaceX and everything else. That's what gave him his engine behind that. A lot of Microsoft's growth has been because of Web 2. They made a fortune. It made the company that much more valuable. That's not in there. Apple is not in there. Apple has tremendously, matter of fact, their most successful product, their phones, only became popular because the web. If it wasn't for the web, there's no way they would have ever been that successful selling just regular mobile phones. It's the smartphone that allowed for them to do that, and that was completely all web-based. So right there, you're adding trillions and trillions more to that list. So the web has created well over 20, $30 trillion in wealth, this Web 2. And then we look at Web 3 layered over the top of it. The night that I was doing the research on this, guys, and I saw this chart, I just went, holy mackerel, I'm in the right place, in the right, future of where things are going. Every single area better, matches it better. This is the thing, guys. They try to make it seem like it's scary. If you look at the news media, positive coverage to negative coverage on cryptocurrency, they make it scary. It is the same security-wise as the internet is, Web 2, traditional Web 2. It's the same. There's no difference in the security of blockchain and that, according to this. But it has transparency. It has user data ownership. This is just so huge right here, guys. Again, I guess they let us use their platforms for free, but I would have rather paid a couple bucks a month to use it and kept my data and not had to monetize me like I'm a information. We can go through every side of this, guys. This is the core one too, decentralization. What is it? I'm going to give decentralization because a lot of people are like, what does that mean? That means it's a level playing field. Decentralization means that we're on the same playing field. I don't care if you're a billionaire. I don't care if you're a millionaire. I don't care if your parents are politically connected or, you're good looking, you're ugly, you're super intelligent, you're medium. This is a level playing field. That's what decentralized means. It's a level playing field. It's decentralized. There is no controlling puppet master that gets to run it. It's decentralized. And again, this is the only area. And this has been since we got involved in this, 2017, heavily involved. What is that, 9 years ago? For 9 years, we've been waiting for this problem to be solved. That is what WeFi is solving. So once this is solved, then Web3 is better in every single way and tied in security. And I believe it can be safer at some point, right? As it continues to develop. I don't know if I necessarily agree with this. I would say that the web is a little bit safe, or Web3 is a little bit safer than Web 2, but we'll just take it as the same. So if you're looking at this and you go, here's a different situation: athletes, taller, better in shape, faster, more agile, maybe right now because of scalability, we've been barefoot, but now they finally get them shoes, right? It's a runner. And, who are you going to bet on in that race? I mean, you're going to bet on the stronger, faster, or more agile athlete, right? With shoes on. So we just got it. We're getting our shoes on. We have the privilege and the opportunity to be in WeFi that will allow for this to happen. The token that is based, it's got the right founder, Reeve Collins. That's one of the things that everybody should do, is go listen to recordings of Reeve Collins. You will see that he's believed in Web3 from the very, very beginning. The fact that it would open the doors for so many other people. So just incredible. And again, award-winning media content. Heck, you gotta like that, right? The internet's and everything's about marketing. So he's a great marketer, as well as an innovator, as well as an entrepreneur that has proven himself track record wise as far as what he's been able to do.
There have been a couple of questions in the chat since you've been bringing up different subjects and stuff. Jody had a really great piece of advice for me anyway. He said he bought more WeFi tokens, but he didn't stake them. He's going to waiting until the Euro countries have been launched. I'm thinking he figures it's going to take off. Is that what's your thought on
I bought some yesterday. So and you can buy them through your own WeFi app.
Right.
You get some energy, the rewards program, when you purchase them through there. So instead of having to go out to an exchange, you can go right into the app, send some money over to your wallet. I've purchased some in, I think, every wallet that I have now. I purchased some WeFi tokens. It was down to, around $2. So I was buying it, and I've staked some of it for 5 years. I've staked some for 2 years, and some of it I haven't staked. Yes, it was based on a conversation with me, Jody. Yes, it was. Yes.
Imagine.
And, so it had went to $3. It came down to $2 because, by the way, guys, every crypto came down, right? This is a normal thing in the marketplace, right? It's been, my hypothesis is it was the last run of the powers that be, the centralized system, trying to stop the inevitable, which is that people are going to start to embrace the crypto markets. They're embracing it regulatory wise. They're embracing it in every way possible. And now it is possible to launch a DO bank. It's the same way with the whole thing is, if they would have tried to launch a DO bank 2 years ago, I don't think it would have worked, guys. 12 months ago when they actually launched WeFi, it was in the early stages to get some momentum, a little running start. But right now, 2026 is the year of Web3 and blockchain and crypto, not just here in America, but around the world. A lot of countries now are beginning to embrace it. Policies really coming together. As part of the interview that Reeve was talking about, they were talking about Europe is, and I didn't realize this, guys, Europe is actually ahead of the US in their regulatory structure for DO banking, for this whole crypto side of things. They were talking about that. And of course, Dubai, that whole Emirates area has embraced it and are moving forward projects and different things like that. So the world is ready. America is moving towards positive, crypto policies, positive crypto stance, essentially Web3. And the rest of the world is in line with being able to do it as well. You'll see a lot of countries that will be embracing on a global level. So in the next 36 months, you're going to see what has essentially happened with AI, right? It's been about 3 years since ChatGPT came on board and said, hey, check this out. And it's changed the world. It was able to get kind of leapfrog that regulatory side of things. It was like it blew up, and then it's like, oh, we need some regulation because it kind of came out of nowhere, where crypto kind of had a little bit of a rougher time. And it's because it was a currency, right? That's what Bitcoin that was created, the white paper, right? A new type of currency that was not regulated by governments and by the powers that be. And there's a couple ways that governments get power. One is with an army. Two is with money, right? Controlling the financial system. So, all right.
Okay, next one. Drew is asking, do we know when the leads from the ads are going to be ready and available?
No, we don't.
Okay.
We did the demo last night. Guys, we got to build this whole thing out. We're not buying somebody else's lead system and going, oh, let's just run some leads. We didn't build something that was already done. We had to build it. Thanks to Rhonda, we got the pitch deck done, or the slides. We first tried to use the website, Rhonda, and thought it was clunky and said, no, let's build a slide deck. So we built that. That was just finished last night. I went through the presentation last night. We're waiting on some feedback on that. If we're going to spend money to present this to people, we do need to make sure that it's something that is going to get them to say yes. Don't want to flush the money down the toilet. Right now, we're working on the actual CRM system, how people are going to reply, what are we going to do, how are we going to get them to people, what are the backups to make sure that that everybody is getting to the leads. It doesn't do any good. I've been doing, especially not so much more the last 10 years, but before that, built a lot of network marketing organizations, big teams, thousands and thousands of people. And the number one thing that I would do is watch people get leads, and then they wouldn't follow up with it. They wouldn't use them. And they basically just threw their money down the drain. We want to make sure that when we're doing these, because it's, going to represent we, the Web3, and what we're doing, that we have a redundancy and follow up and things in place to make sure that, as the leads go out to people, that they're getting, contacted and called back. So there's just a lot of stuff that we're putting together that needs to be done. And so I would say that my goal is sometime next week, we have our first presentation. We don't even know what the response is to it yet. So we'll have to see what that looks like. Once we know what that looks like, then we can give you guys a clearer picture on what it is. I can give you what my hopes are, but if I give what my hopes are, then everybody writes it down that Peter said next Tuesday. And then on Tuesday, they're texting Sharona going, hey, I haven't gotten my leads yet. So we're going to play it by ear.
It's never happened, Peter.
And then as soon as we know what it starts to look like, so once we have our first one, and let's say we have 20 people show up, if 10 of those say, yeah, I'm in, I want to go, I want to get involved, then we'll be able to start going, okay, how often can we have these? How much did it cost to get somebody in the door? Was it $10, $7, $8, that we spent on advertising? So we got 20 people to show up. We spent $200 in advertising. 10 of them joined. Okay, great. Then for every $200 we spend, we get 10 people in. Then we can start doing some projections and start figuring things out, put it all together. But it's in the early stages, guys, still. We got the presentation done. I believe that last night's presentation went very well. I know a lot of people said, or several people said, it was still too long. I was talking to some people afterwards. Guys, the reason why it's long is we are trying to convince people that there's this new way of commerce, right? This is not a new camera. You guys notice I got a better, you guys can see me better now. I got a new camera. I bought it. So it's not a new camera that I can just plug in and click and be ready to go. It's a new way of thinking. We've watched the entrepreneur system that we live in today, the capitalist system that we live in today, that a lot of people think is unfair. A lot of people don't like it. And we're saying there's a new whole way of doing that. I don't think you can. I don't think you can convince people to do that with shorts. And I'm talking about YouTube videos, right? 30-second, 60-second YouTube videos. I don't think you can convince it. I think it's got to be long form. And I think we have to be able to, when you're trying to change somebody's mind, if you just hit the surface, it's going to bounce back up and they're going to go, oh no, I'm good with where I'm at. You have to penetrate the surface and go deep into their thought process, and you have to give them a lot to think out in order to get them to go, yeah, this is possible. And I don't know if you could do that in even 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Maybe somebody else could, but I don't think I can. So I think I need an hour to an hour and a half. Now, do we have all the information that we need to do it? I don't think yet, but I think we'll get there. And it's key phrases, it's anecdotes, right? Coming up with
it's the right stories.
It's the right stories. It's the right everything that gets people.
It's the right questions for you to ask those questions and start that little conversation in their head.
Yep. And that's the stuff that we have to figure out, guys. And once we do figure it out, then I believe that, we could have WeFi growing like insane, right? Because because the same triggers for some people will be the triggers for most people. Because again, it's a generic, it's what we're in covers a lot of people. It's not like the category we're in is limited to, the people that will get involved with it. This affects everybody. So once we do get the language, the questions and everything down, then who knows? And I can do 10 presentations a day if need be, right? Well, they're an hour to an hour and a half long, so maybe only 6 or 7, but whatever it is. So once we find something that's working, we just pour on the gas. We do a presentation at 9, because we're doing global, right? 9 in the morning. We do another one at 11. We do another one at 1. We do another one at 3. We do another one at 5. We do another one at 7, right? Whatever it takes for us to continue to grow and push and build this thing. Heck, I'll be up doing these at midnight if need be, right? I'm still up anyway.
In some part of the world, it's 9.
In some part of the world,
perfect.
6 o'clock at night, and people are getting home from work and they're figuring out how the heck they're going to retire. They're figuring out how they're going to pay the bills. They're going to figure out what if their job gets replaced with AI. They're trying to figure out the same things that we're all trying to figure out here. And so, we've got a global audience. We've got lots of energy and lots of time. So once we figure this out, we turn it on, then I think that we'll be able to.
And I will be sending out a replay of the seminar piece, the hour and 19 minutes. And it's going to be unlisted on YouTube. So we ask that you don't share it out to, the world kind of thing. But that will be coming later this afternoon. It was a little longer to edit. And I also will do the after part because there was really great discussion in there. And last question that I'm seeing is Scott. He's mentioning that he's having trouble accessing his WeFi account. He's getting that error message. We have talked about that in other calls, but Peter, can you just go over that quickly for him, please?
Yeah. WeFi corporate sent out a this is earlier when I talked about that we can see that the Doe Bank is getting ready to launch in Europe. Of course, as you start to deal with the different agencies and stuff, it's like, hey, do you do this? Do you doing this? Are you doing that? And so they have set up to where now best way. So if I was a WeFi customer from Europe and I was visiting the United States, I would turn on my VPN in order to access the site. We have an email that if you're not on the email list, put your name or your email address in the chat or send it to Sharona, and she'll send you out a message that came from WeFi directly in there, and you can get that.
And how easy is it to get a VPN, Peter?
Very easy. As a matter of fact, we helped somebody get one for free. Sharona. What was the name of the VPN, Sharona, that you set up for him?
Oh,
Do you remember?
That's why she
there
asked
was
you.
something. Yeah. We just went to the App Store or the Play Store because he was on Android, and we typed in free VPN and we looked at the ratings. We took one that was 4.8, Peter's suggestion on free ones, and he just did it. He just clicked it and signed up, and it defaulted to Germany, and we just said, well, let's just go with that, see if it worked, and it did, and it was fine. And it was easy peasy.
Yep. Yeah, I use Brave and Nord, both of them on different devices. Those are paid VPNs, but there are free VPNs out there.
Express VPN, very reliable.
Great, thanks, Kevin. I'll make a note of.
We're going to be doing a lot of seminars,
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right,
And
thanks,
again,
guys.
for everybody that's on here, I do want you to know that the seminars will not be short ever. I'm letting you know right now. I'll never have a 30-minute seminar. That's not a seminar. That's a presentation. The marketing, well, some short videos that people can watch to get them to come to the seminar. And I had said this again yesterday after it. I'm actually looking for people that are willing to spend an hour and a half to learn about a new concept to change their life. Because if you're not willing to give something, I got to be honest with you guys, I'll spend 2 hours, 3 hours watching content on a subject that I am intense about. So if you come up to me and you say, hey, here's an opportunity to get involved with. So I'll give you the night that I got into WeFi, okay? I went ahead and they told me about WeFi. They sent me the first video. The first night, I watched every single video on dobanking.com. Every video. I went through and watch. I went out and looked on the web. I went and looked here. I spent a few hours looking at the project saying, hey, is this something? I was already in because Reeve Collins, but I wanted to make sure and go through that process. So I'm somebody who will spend 2, 3, 4 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours just studying something in order to make sure that it's the right thing to do. The business concepts, when I come up with ideas, when I do any of the stuff that I do, I'll spend the time on it to make sure it's right. And maybe that's kind of members that we need to find to be part of what we're doing with WeFi and with Web3, because we need people that are going to pay attention, that will be on top of things, that will be. And remember, there's 8 billion people on the planet. We don't need all 8 billion of them. We need about 1 million people. I don't know what percentage that is. It's a pretty small percentage, right? 1 million out of 8 billion. What is that? Like 1/10,000th of a percent, something like that. So we need one in what? Every 8,000 people, or one in every, I don't know. I'm going to do the math on it. So, but we only need a small percentage of the people that say, yes, I'm in, we want to do this. And those are the people that probably have a 401k. They've got some savings put aside. They're, they're long-term thinkers, and they're willing to spend some time to be educated and to learn. So, all right. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that, because if you're going to come on them, they're going to be an hour or hour and a half, whatever it takes to make it happen. All right.
Great. Thank you, Peter.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Enjoy the
that's
Super
it.
Bowl or the Olympics or whatever else you're going to do this weekend. And
Great. Thanks for the fireside chat today, Peter. That was
thanks, Peter.
really nice.
Yeah.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome, guys.
All right. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Let's make my
Take care,
dream come
everybody.
true, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
$1 billion companies. Boom, 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 boom.
Boom, boom,
Boom,
boom.
Good.
By the way, we the community owns 50% plus of those $1 billion companies. So All right. Thanks,
on.
guys.
Bye.